Hi everyone, I'm Evangeline right here at eTrailer. Since every bike rack fits every car differently, we're focusing in on how the Hollywood Racks CrossTrack 2 bike rack fits on the 2025 Nissan Kicks. If you have this vehicle and you're looking for a bike rack that's really easy to use, has a high weight capacity, and works well with your car, this is going to be a good option for you. Now remember, you are going to need a hitch receiver first, so find that custom fit hitch receiver right here at eTrailer. I recommend trying to get the 2-inch one as much as possible. And then you can carry this bike rack. So some good fits here that I like to look for is clearances. For example, if you pull that lever and bring this bike rack down, you'll be able to have access into your hatch. So if you have a backpack, or you keep your waters here, your helmets, or you like to switch out your shoes, you can do all of that without having to take your bikes off. Bringing this hatch down, plenty of clearance between the door, the handlebars, the pedals, things like that. Bringing this back up, just lift up on the rack, and then it snaps into place. You're now ready to drive. So how does this hold on to your bikes? You have a rear wheel mount, you have a front wheel mount, and that's it. This keeps everything contained, zero contact on the bike's frame, and is pretty easy to load and unload the bike. What I like to do is I like to press this lever first. That disengages the front mount a little bit while still holding the bike in place. And from there, I can then press this other lever and then push this mount all the way down to the ground. Let's go like that. And then just push out on this arm. And there we go. Now, sometimes if it's on the outside, I can just use my knee. And there we go. We have it to the ground. This makes it easier to load the bike up and to just ramp it down rather than having to lift the whole thing. There we go. This makes that process a lot easier. Now, even with a Nissan Kick sitting a little lower to the ground, there's still a decent amount of height here. So if this process is still difficult, since this has a 66-pound weight capacity, so you might have some really heavy electric bikes on there, I do recommend taking a look at the add-on ramp. That will make this process a lot easier. Now, when you look over at the bike rack itself, you'll see that it has different grooves on that tray, as well as a front wheel chock. So that front wheel chock really adds to that support of the bike. So then when you push this arm against your front wheel, that holds that in place. And you can continue pushing down, and then you can start folding up your bike rack when you're not using it. So let's take a look at some measurements there. How much length will this add to the back of your Nissan Kicks? If you measure from the bumper, so right where that reflector is, this sits at almost 36 inches or 3 feet. Good thing your Nissan Kicks is on the smaller side, because then you're a little bit more likely to fit into those garages or into those small parking spots. Just remember, you now have 2 bikes on the back of your car. Another thing worth looking at is your ground clearance. So first, how high do you have to lift your bike up to get onto the rack? 21.5 inches. Next is, what if you go over potholes and steep inclines? Will this bike rack hit the ground? Compare this handle height to the ground, 16.25 inches. Bike rack to the ground, 18.75 inches. Compare that to your hitch receiver. Bottom inside edge is 11.5 inches. You have plenty of rise up and off the ground, much less likely to bottom out. But hopefully this measurement just shows you, just in case you've got some really extreme situations. You can also make this a lot more compact. Pull that lever, bring up against the car, and now you're in the drive position. I always recommend folding up your bike rack whenever possible so that it's more visible for the cars behind you, and it takes up much less space behind your vehicle. You still have full visibility of your window, of your taillights, Now your backup camera does sit right here where the handle is, so you are gonna lose some visibility of that. You could help out with that a little bit by keeping it in the 45-degree angle, but I always just recommend keeping it upright like this. I would only use a 45-degree angle if I had groceries in hand and I needed to toss that into the car. Quick measurement here from the bumper to the end of the rack is 12 inches. So that's a third of the space it took up earlier. Yep, if you're looking for a bike rack that is easy to use, can carry even your heavy electric bikes, and fits well on your Nissan Kicks, this is gonna be a great option for you. Now, this does have an option for 1.25-inch hitches if that is what you have with this car, but just double check the potential change in weight capacities there. I always say try to get the 2-inch hitch receiver whenever possible, because then you've got a really sturdy fit. So hopefully this video helped you out with seeing how this bike rack fits on your car. What we saw was the Hollywood Racks CrossTrack 2 bike on the 2025 Nissan Kicks. My name is Evangeline, and I hope you enjoyed the journey.